Hello everyone, it's J16 and today I'm going to be predicting the table for the 2018/19 Premier League season. I started this off last year because I'd seen quite a few YouTubers do it and I wanted to do it as well. And I'm going to carry it on this year. And just quickly before I start the video, before anyone says, oh, it's a black screen again, I have intentionally done this, alright? Because I don't have a decent enough camera, so I'm going to do it as like a little podcast radio show instead of an actual video. So yeah. If you're watching or listening, I should say, to this, you can just walk about the house and not have to look at the screen. So yeah, benefits you as well. But yeah, I'm just going to start off at the bottom, work my way up and say who I think will finish where in the Premier League table. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the 3 relegated teams. At 20th, I'm going to predict Cardiff. At 19th, I'm going to predict Watford. And 18th, I'm going to predict Huddersfield Town. Now, the reason I put these 3 teams down here is a mixture of reasons. I'll start off with Cardiff, actually. I said I'm going to work my way up. Cardiff, obviously, they're one of the promoted teams, so all the promoted teams, obviously, that come up from the Championship, they're all going to be more likely or more favourable to go down. And last year, I did say Huddersfield because they won the playoff and they stayed up. But I'm going to say Cardiff this year because they did finish second, but I've been reading some statistics online about their passes completed and their the amount of passes they did last season in the Championship. It's like they made an average of 166 passes a game, which was 500 less than Man City, who averaged 666 passes a game. I know it's different leagues, but I just don't think they've got the ability, and I don't think they've got the ambition or the players. I just don't think they're going to do anything. I think they're going to finish rock bottom, go back down to the Championship where they belong. 19th, I'm going for Watford because obviously they finished 14th last season and they've always been kind of an average team, just finishing just below mid-table. They've never really done anything. I think their highest finish is 13th. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I know they've never had a top half finish. But I just don't see Watford surviving. I think obviously they always used to sack their manager, which kind of worked out, kind of didn't. But yeah, their manager at the moment, he doesn't seem like the type of manager who can demand players. He just doesn't seem to be that strong or confident enough looking at him. So that's one of the main factors. Also, their players, they're not that good. I'm sorry, but they're just not that good. Watford fans, I don't think you'll survive. Okay, for the last relegated team at 18th, I'm predicting Huddersfield because last season they were lucky to survive. They only scored 28 goals and they failed to score in over half of their matches. So they got really lucky to survive last season in 16th. I don't know how it happened, but it did. Fair play to them. I like them. I've always said I do like Huddersfield. I want them to do well, but I'm predicting them to finish 18th and go down this following season. I just don't think they're a Premier League team. They're going to go back down, I reckon. So, moving out of the relegation zone into the near the relegation zone. 17th, I'm going for Crystal Palace. I reckon they'll drop from last season. They had an okay season. I don't know. It depends what part of the season you focus on. If you focus on the very beginning, it was a disaster for them. But fair play for them for surviving and finishing at 11th. That was decent of them. I don't know. They pulled it off. Fair play to them. It's one of the best things that happened last season. But yeah, I just don't think they're going to be as good. I don't think they'll go down, but I reckon they'll still be involved in the relegation battle. I reckon they'll spend some time down there, then work themselves out, and then I don't think they'll go down. They'll be close though. Moving upwards, I'm going to 16th is Fulham. Now, predicting the Championship teams who got promoted is always hard because I don't know them that well. I follow the Championship a bit. I don't watch games that often. I watch sometimes if I'm bored and it's on Channel 5. But it's not something really that I'm focused on during the season, so it's quite hard. But I'm just going to say Fulham for 16th. I know they've got some decent players. I've heard of Ron Sessegnon. Yeah, I've heard that he's really good. He's an up-and-coming youth star. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch him. I reckon he might go in January if he plays good enough. But, yeah, Fulham, I reckon they'll be involved in the relegation battle. Not as much. I reckon they'll spend some time near the bottom. But, nah, they'll stay up, I reckon. 15th is Newcastle. Now, Newcastle finished 10th last season, which is very good, seeing as their owner does not like to spend his money. But the managers and the players, they all worked really hard with the resources they had and pulled off a 10th place finish, which was good of them. I thought that was quite cool, to be fair. But yeah, seeing as I don't think they've brought any players. If they have, I think it's like 1 or 2, and then they're not going to be amazing. Oh, Salomon Rondon. Ooh, he's so good, isn't he? But yeah, Newcastle, I reckon they'll finish 15th. Don't reckon they'll go down. I reckon they'll stay up for another season. But I reckon in January they do need to do some spending. Otherwise, the season after, so the 2019-20 season, I reckon that could be their season that they go down again. Now, moving up, from onwards, I don't think any of these teams will be involved in relegation. But well, they might do. I don't know. They could do. 14th, I'm going for Bournemouth. I reckon they'll drop 2 spaces. I reckon they'll still survive. Obviously, it's been a great story for Bournemouth coming up. They even got a 9th place finish quite recently, which was decent. But Bournemouth, I'm going for 14th. I reckon they'll do alright. I reckon they'll get a few shock results, like against big teams. But they'll be alright, I reckon. 13th, I'm going for Leicester City. I just think they're going to continue dropping from when they won the Premier League. Obviously, they finished 9th last season, which was an improvement on the season before. But I just don't think they'll do that much. I reckon they'll finish 13th. Obviously, they've lost Riyad Mahrez. That was a huge blow to them. He was one of their vital players. But they still got the good players like Schmeichel and Vardy, who are really good for Leicester. So I don't think they'll be crap, but I reckon they'll be about average. Now, for 12th, I'm going for Southampton. Last season, I don't know what happened to Southampton. They've always been a fairly mid-table side. Sometimes they even get into Europe. They even beat Inter Milan fairly recently. But I don't know what 17th for Southampton. That shouldn't be happening at this point in time. I think they should just write that season off. It was a one-off. I don't think it will happen again for a long time. But I'm predicting Southampton to 12th. I reckon they'll get better again. 11th is the final prediction for the 3 promoted teams. It is Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, a lot of people reckon that Wolves are going to be really good. I don't know. I don't really know much about them, but obviously I've heard all this, so I'm not going to put them down the bottom. But I'm going to put them in at 11th. I don't think I'll get this one that wrong, but I reckon... I don't know. I reckon if I get it wrong, they'll probably be higher than lower, I'd say. 10th is Brighton. Brighton also had a great season last season. Well, they finished 15th, but they still played decent. They got a few good results against big teams, but I reckon they're just a team who are on the up at the moment. I reckon they're going to finish mid-table exactly in 10th. I'm not too sure on their transfers. I've looked up a few transfers for the teams, but I don't know about Brighton. I'm not sure who they've brought in. 9th place is Everton. I'm predicting them to finish one worse than last season. They have brought in a few players and they've got a new manager. I think they'll be about the same as last season, but obviously finish one space less than last season in 9th place. In 8th, I'm going to go for Burnley. Now, I could be completely wrong with this because the way I make my predictions, a lot of the factors are where they finished last season. Obviously, Burnley finished 7th last season. But then again, they've only brought in 2 players, one of them being Joe Hart, who I imagine is going to be their #1 goalkeeper. And from personal experience of having him at West Ham, he does not do good for your club, right? Fair play, he used to be good back in the day, but he's past his prime. I think Burnley, their main issue will be the goalkeeping issue. They've already got a goalkeeping issue actually. Tom Heaton and Nick Pope are injured. They're both Burnley's 2 great goalkeepers. They got their 3rd choice. I think he's called Andreas Lingard. I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. Burnley fans, you'll know who I'm on about. He played for you the other day against Aberdeen. But Burnley, that's your main issue, your goalkeeping situation. Anyway, back to the point I originally wanted to make. Burnley could finish way, way worse than they did last season. Obviously, Europa League, that's going to be a struggle for them. Last season, the Premier League was their only focus. Well, obviously, the FA and League Cup, but everyone had that as well. But Europa League, I think that could make them tired. I'm not sure, but I'm predicting Burnley for 8th. Now, 7th is West Ham. Now, I'm always going to predict West Ham better than I probably should because obviously I'm biased because it's the club I support. But realistically, we brought in a load of good signings, alright? We've strengthened the goalkeeping situation. We brought in Lucas Fabianski, as I mentioned in my vlog. Personally, I do like him, but I don't want Adrian to leave. I like Adrian. He's good, but Fabianski, he's decent as well. And yeah, I'm glad that Fabianski has come in. We've also got a few other players like Felipe Anderson, Ryan Fredericks. Obviously, our defence was a mess last season. Attacking was alright. Obviously, Marko Arnautovic was so good for us. So yeah, defensively we have improved and we've improved up front. We've just improved everywhere, to be honest. And we got a new manager as well. That was another main issue. We had David Moyes last season. Like, why did the owners give him a job after he got relegated with Sunderland? Like, no, he's a washout. Get rid of him. Oh, wait, they did. Now we've got Pellegrini, so I'm pretty happy with that. 6th, this is going to be quite controversial. I know this is going to set the comments off, is Chelsea. Now, obviously, they finished 5th last season. I think they should have retained their title, to be honest, but they didn't. I think they sacked Antonio Conte way too early. Like, they just keep sacking their managers. That's not the main issues. The issue is the players, their mentalities. It's just not right, you know? If they get bored of a manager, they're like, yeah, fuck him, we're not playing for you. You don't play for the manager. You play for your 40,000 fans who turn up every week. Well, every other week, technically. But, yeah, Chelsea, I don't think they'll do that much. Their new manager, they're going to finish 6th, I reckon. 5th is Tottenham Hotspur, I'm predicting. Now, this is also because of new stadium syndrome, another thing that as a West Ham fan I am aware of. Tottenham, I don't think they'll drop off. They're still quite decent. I still don't think they're going to win any trophies. Well, that's never going to happen. But Tottenham, yeah, I'm predicting you for 5th. I reckon you'll still get into the Europa League, though. You could even win that, you know, in a few years. So that could be your trophy you get. 4th is Arsenal. Obviously, they've brought in a new manager. Arsene Wenger's sadly gone. I liked him, to be fair. They brought in a few good players. Obviously, they've strengthened the goalkeeping situation. Brought in a new goalkeeper. And Petr Cech could be on his way out to Chelsea, which is a bit weird. But Arsenal, I'm predicting you for 4th. I reckon you'll get back into the Champions League this season. I just reckon you will. 3rd is Manchester United. I'm predicting them to finish 1 off last season. Obviously, they finished 2nd. I'm predicting them for 3rd. But I reckon they'll still be decent, though. I reckon they'll challenge for the title again. I reckon it's going to be a 3-horse race again. I'll get onto the top 2 in a minute. But Man United, I reckon they'll be top for a while. But I don't think they'll win the Premier League. But I reckon they'll still go for it, though. 2nd, this could be controversial. Some people could laugh at this. It's Liverpool. Now, the main factor for this is Liverpool have improved their goalkeeping situation. Obviously, it was a massive thing last season. Everyone watched the Champions League final will know about it, about Carrot. I feel bad for him, to be fair. But, you know, he's got to go. Liverpool have had a few pre-season friendlies, and he's been crap in all of them. He's made errors. Like, the Champions League was not a one-time thing. He's clearly gone mental. But yeah, Alisson, he's going to be decent for Liverpool, I reckon. And obviously, the only team I haven't mentioned, I'm predicting Manchester City to win the Premier League. Not much to say for this. Obviously, they did it last season. They're still on the up. Brought in new players. They're just going to do it, I reckon. So, yeah, that was my predictions for the 2018/19 season. In a weird kind of way, this was kind of like my first podcast. I don't know if it counts or not, but I still want to do that. So if anyone wants to, just comment down below. Anyway, if you did like this video, just give it a like, subscribe to me, and I'm going to be getting regular videos out back again starting from September. I'll be able to I'll be able to borrow equipment from college as I'm starting level 3 media. It's something I've got onto, which was one of my New Year's resolutions. Anyway, so yeah, you should look forward to that. Those are my predictions. Man City are going to win the Premier League. Huddersfield, Watford and Cardiff, you're going down. Thank you for watching. This has been J16. Goodbye. Enjoy the season.